So Microsoft went and bought Bethesda Studios, and every gaming studio under Bethesda. This is a massive, massive deal. They bought it for over $7 billion, and included they have every single game and IP under Bethesda, which includes the likes of Doom, Wolfenstein, the Elder Scrolls, and Skyrim, and the Fallout series. Let's react, let's discuss. So Microsoft, in a surprising move, went out and bought Bethesda. Unexpectedly. No one expected this, and there was no rumors of this as far as I know. It just came out and they said, hey, let's buy Bethesda. And Bethesda was like, hey, we'll take it. It's over $7 billion. I don't know if they're experiencing some economic downturn, but it looks like they're not. This is very interesting going forward, because Bethesda's, I would say, if you were to tier gaming, so your top tier guys are EA, Activision, Take-Two Interactive, which owns Rockstar and the NBA 2K and all that, right? I would say just below that you have like a Bethesda. They're not quite there, but at times they make good games, cross-platform, good developer. Fallout 76 is not included in that. But the Fallout games in general have been good. Skyrim was great. So it's very interesting. They make a lot of great single-player RPG games. And Microsoft now owns that entire library. Now, Bethesda was in agreement with Sony to produce two PlayStation exclusives, and according to Phil Spencer, they are gonna honor that agreement. But going forward, Bethesda is probably not making PlayStation exclusives. Does that mean they're making Xbox exclusives? Not quite. I think Xbox is changing their format and their business format. They're more aligned to compete with a Google Stadia than they are to align to just directly compete with PlayStation. Let me explain. They've released Microsoft Game Pass, right? $180, and you can play Microsoft games and Xbox games across any platform on an Xbox One, on an Xbox Series X, Series S, on your computer, on your tablet device or smartphone. Granted that it's not an Apple device, which is really depressing because I have an Apple iPhone, but now I have to consider switching to Samsung's Android because, sorry Apple, you kind of screwed up there, right? But digressing on that, they're more aligned to compete with the Google Stadia with their service, saying $180, whatever hardware you own, because people will likely own either an Xbox, a PC, a mobile phone. Everyone owns a mobile phone, and some people are likely to own a tablet, and you can play these great console games on those devices. So it's a new strategy, and I think anyone who thinks Microsoft is playing up the same straight up console, well, here's our generation of console, and let's see if we sell more than PlayStation. They're not doing that. They're basically selling you exclusive hardware to match with their exclusive software, but their software is accessible across every device except the PlayStation. And I wouldn't be surprised if PlayStation one day goes and says, you know what, we have to add Xbox Game Pass app because we can't compete with that. That would be down in the future, but anyways, I digress on that. But this is major. Microsoft has been adding to their portfolio of game studios, and this is great. It's great for Xbox fans. It's great for people who play on PC, like I do. But it's not great for PlayStation fans. But I don't think Xbox is gonna say that no game that these studios make in the future can't be sold on PlayStation. I just don't think they're gonna be that short-sighted. I don't think they are really beholden to hardware sales. See, PlayStation relies on the sales from the PlayStation 5. Okay, and they're probably losing money on the console itself, so they're trying to make it up on the accessories, make it up on the exclusives, make it up on. So these exclusives of PlayStation are designed in nature to make you go out and buy the console. Microsoft, not so much. It's more like get whatever device you can at this point and just pay for Game Pass. $180 a year, all the Xbox exclusive games plus more. It's a money saver. It's a money saver. Can you argue that it's not? It's a money saver. And I think anyone who thinks this is still a straight up console versus console war, you're missing the picture. Microsoft is competing more with Google Stadia, which Google Stadia is you can play across any device, but you have to pay for this service and pay for the game. Xbox is saying just pay us for the service. We already have majority of the games. We already produce great exclusives. Why pay more? So they're outflanking Google Stadia, and when they demolish Google Stadia, because I don't think Google Stadia is ever gonna catch on. It's just I don't see you charging me over $100 a year for a service and then charging me for games. I don't see it. You know, at least with Xbox Live and PlayStation, it's only $60 a year. You know, but Xbox Live is now being rolled into Xbox Game Pass, so you're gonna have Game Pass if you have Xbox Live. It's gonna cost more. And it might be people who say, "Oh no, I don't want that. I just want Xbox Live." I can see the argument there, but same time, like I said, $180 for a year of Game Pass Ultimate, play across any device, any Xbox, any PC, any tablet that's not an Apple tablet, any phone that's not an Apple phone. And now Xbox has a great set of new studios who have produced quality games such as Skyrim and the Fallout series. And they're probably producing 2 new games that are going to be good in Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo. They're going to be for PlayStation. So these studios have a resume of quality, and now they're exclusively owned by Microsoft. You know, I don't know if this changes this. We'll see how this affects the hardware sales. That's what we're watching on these console wars, right? It's the hardware sales. And maybe Sony is I think Sony at this point is shooting itself in the foot, and let me explain why. The pre-orders of PlayStation 5 were a mess. They only had a limited quantity. They're promising more will be available, but a lot are being scooped up by scalpers who are going to resell it on eBay for $1,000, which is total horseshit. I don't think that's fair. Like I said previously, I just want the PlayStation 5 exclusives. The cross-gen, the cross-platform multiplayer online stuff like the Call of Duties of the world, that's PC. I just want PlayStation 5 for the exclusives because they don't make their exclusives. Horizon Zero Dawn just hit PC. And it's not the best port. It's actually not as good as the PlayStation version. So PlayStation is gonna have to come to the table and say, we gotta come up with something, because this all goes back to someone at Microsoft, and I think it was Phil Spencer, that they said that the future of gaming was not in generations. Like, this is gonna be the last generation of Xbox. And what they're going to do is move more to a mobile phone type of system, where each iteration of Xbox can play the same games, but one's just going to keep performing better and better and better and better. That doesn't make your old game obsolete. And of course, Microsoft has the edge on backwards compatibility, so that your old games are not irrelevant and not collecting dust, or they're not there to never be played again. Which is another important thing where Sony is failing. They're not, if I invest the PS4 generation in games that were PS2, PS3, stuff like that, backwards compatible, and you're telling me PS5, that's a waste of my money. That heavily disappoints me because I still love those games. I have Max Payne 1. I have Max Payne 1 on my PlayStation 4, and I love that game. Every now and again, I go back and I play that story. It is one of the best games. I wish they had Max Payne 2, because Max Payne 2 is the best Max Payne of all three of them. But I love that game. I still play the Jack and Daxter games. And if they're not compatible on PS5, it's a waste of money. It's a waste of a console, because I still want to play those games. So PlayStation's really got to pick up the ball here. And then PlayStation announced that some of the exclusives coming to PlayStation 5 will be available on PS4, like Spider-Man and the next Horizon Zero, which is good. It's a good move. But at the same time, it's disappointing when they release the news, because you got all these people who are trying to scrounge up $500, who maybe got a pre-order, who probably already paid off their console, and because they want those games, and now you tell them it's like, I think it's a good move regardless, because if I can't get my hands on a PS5, I can still play Spider-Man Miles Morales and the next Horizon Zero Dawn. Those are the two games I'm looking forward to the most on PlayStation. The two exclusives I want the most on PlayStation. So the fact that I'll be able to play them on PS4 is encouraging. So we have to see what PlayStation is going to do in response to this. I don't see PlayStation buying studios. I don't know if any studios are up for sales or publishers up for sales in their studio portfolios. We'll have to see. But I think people are just missing the mark that Xbox is not continuing with the straight up console war BS of selling more hardware. They're focusing on getting more exclusives and increasing a base of customers through Game Pass. Let's say the next Xbox sells 10 million. Just 10 million, so I could do the math. You have 10 million Xbox Series X, 10 million Xbox Series S. So you still have 10 million on the old Xbox Ones. That's 30 million people. But let's say you have 50 million people on PC who can now play Xbox games for a simple price of $180 a year. That's $180 from 50 million people on PC. And people on PC might say, hey, maybe I'll invest in the cheaper new Xbox, because sometimes I don't feel like sitting at my computer desk playing a game. I would like to sit in front of my nice living room TV and play a game. And you don't have to buy any games for it. You just have to buy the hardware, and you can buy it on sale. And you still have a library of games that you can use, and your data from your PC playing carries over to your console. No one's talking about that. I don't know why. But it's really good and it's really interesting, and that's where I'm going to leave it at. I'm stunned at this acquisition. PlayStation, we'll see what their next move is. It's always interesting to look at the chess match between these two companies. But let's see how this goes, and let's see how the release of Xbox Series X and Series S go when their pre-orders go live in a couple days. Alright, I'm Crazy B, and I'm out, and I'll catch you next time, fellas. Alright, stay cool, stay safe, stay healthy. See you next time. please like and subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments. I will respond. Alright, thank you. Bye.